I was like, what just happened? Oh, hi, everybody. What's up? Y'all know me. I'm just catching up with folks because it's been a minute, even though I saw quite a few of y'all at FCA, the National, this weekend. If I didn't get a chance to see you, it's because there were 3,000 plus people there.
Wow.
But yes, it was crazy. We had record-breaking attendance this year. But thank you for stopping by the booth. It was such an incredible event, and even better, I am so excited that after that exciting weekend, you chose to spend your lunch hour with us today, and I am so excited. Do y'all see who is my presenter on the webinar series today? It is Dr. Otto Janke, and we're talking about one of my favorite topics of discussion, which is research. Now, I'm going to give you his brief biography because, quite frankly, we could talk about that for like another 45 minutes to an hour, but I don't want to take away from what's going on.
Really?
Yes, and you know it. He's a graduate of Palmer College. He's been in practice for over 30 years. He's had case studies published early in his career, and his case study improvement in vagal function and I cannot read. Post breast cancer patient receiving chiropractic care was published in the Journal of Medical Cases. He published his first book, You Were Born to Be Healthy, in 2013, and published an article, Side Effects of the Chiropractic Adjustment and Questions Which Arise, and which this presentation is based on, which is so very exciting. So thank you so much, Dr. Janke, for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here today and to communicate with our audience actually it's around the world now, but mostly in North America.
How cool is that?
It is pretty cool. I used to think that the statistics were wrong. I was like, why would anybody in New Zealand or England be watching the webinar series? But over the years, we've kind of expanded our topics of discussion so they do apply, since it's not just, we're not just talking about things happening in America. We're talking about things happening to the profession around the world. So it is pretty exciting.
Absolutely. So one of the simple things we're going to talk about today is I'm going to take levels of research for you, and I'm going to show you how I communicate that in my practice. Practicing for 31 years. Well, first of all, let's go through a couple things. Today, we're going to go through who I am. It's going to be the shortest introduction you've ever had. Who I am, what brings me here. Number two is the problems we see in chiropractic. We think we don't have enough research, and that is absolutely incorrect. We have a ton of research. We don't talk about it, nor do we know how to communicate it properly with our practice members and, more importantly, our community. I'm going to show you how I do it. I use very simple terms, very simple ways of doing this. Your ability to communicate what you do to your patients, with your patients, and with your community will set you far apart. Set you far apart. You make practice so much easier by the way you communicate. It's easy to do. I am not a master of this. I have made all of the mistakes. 31 years, I've made all the mistakes. What does the research say? I'm going to take just a small smidge of the research I use, small smidge of the research, and I'm going to show it to you today. If you're allowed to have this research, have this presentation afterwards, take it, find that research, use it. I'll show you some easy things. And then I'm going to show you what I use to communicate it to our practice members and to our community. Okay? Very, very simple stuff. I love doing this. I go around the country doing this. And let's make chiropractic easy to understand. First of all, who am I? 92 graduate of Palmer. I graduated, and so people always ask me which Palmer. The one in Davenport, Iowa. Graduated honors in research. I practiced for 31 years. I practice in upstate New York. I'm in rural upstate New York. I'm in between Syracuse and Binghamton. We're at the doorsteps of the Finger Lakes. It's beautiful here. Man, it is a knockout day today. I kind of wish I wasn't inside today. It's beautiful here today. In 2013, I was awarded the Beacon Award by the New York Chiropractic Council, which they awarded me the top chiropractor in New York. As we heard, in 2013, I published my first book. My second one is being in the hopper right now, but my first book was You Were Born to Be Healthy. I've been published twice in case studies in the chiropractic biophysics. I'm a biophysics-oriented person, have been for 31 years. My first case study was in the Journal of Medical Cases. That was in right here in front of me, 2019, with the great David Russell helping me. God bless him. My last paper was published this May, and it was in the Asia Pacific Chiropractic Journal. And a lot of this, or the basis of this talk today, is around that study. I talk about people about the side effects of chiropractic. And so people come in my practice, the same as they do in your practice. They come into your practice, for instance, low back pain. They come in for neck pain. In my practice, I look at 4 reasons why people are there. One is because they have a physical ailment, a physical stress, which has showed up as a physical ailment. Number 2, they have a toxic stress, and it shows up as a physical ailment. They have a mental emotional stress, which shows up as a physical ailment. The 4th one, which has been the growing part of my practice for the last probably about 7 years, is people want to be able to be as healthy as possible for as long as possible, and they want to be able to retire healthy and not suck dry their retirement monies. And so I see a lot of people with that. Okay, so me. The problems in chiropractic. First of all, it's not that we don't have enough of research. We have a ton of research. I'm going to give you some research today. I'm going to give you just a sliver of what's out there. Other problem is that we don't communicate well what we do. We are told repeatedly that the research shows that we are great at low back pain. The honesty is that we're okay at low back pain. If you will follow the research, it says we are okay at we're okay at low back pain. So I take it steps farther. Let's look at the first ones. What does the public think we do? Most people, almost 62% of respondents believe that chiropractic care was effective at treating neck and back pain. If we keep on telling people that we're great at neck and back pain, they're going to think we're only good at neck and back pain. Here's my question for you. I'm going to be contradictory on many things for you today. Is us being the best at low back pain has led us to exactly the point we are at in our practices and in our profession. By telling people that this is all what the research shows, that's all we get. Instead of getting people in our practice who want to be as healthy as possible for the next number of decades, which is what I ask my practice members when they first come in my practice. They believe that chiropractic was effective at treating neck and back pain. 52% thought DCs were trustworthy. Well, fantastic. How great is that? Just over half the people they questioned thought that we were trustworthy. That means nearly half of them thought we weren't. And 24% thought chiropractic care was dangerous. A quarter of the people thought we were dangerous. I was asked a question a short time ago. Well, one of my friends who's a emergency room surgeon, good friend of mine, asked me about being in practice and about overhead and about malpractice coverage. And I said, oh, mine's $2,500. He said, yours is $2,500 a month? That is incredible, man. That's fantastic. Holy cow. That's nothing, man. Holy cow. That's fantastic. I said, $2,500 a month? I said, no. I said, that's $2,500 for a year. He said, a year? Are you kidding me? $2,500 for you? I said, yeah. And I cut that into monthly portions. He said, you what? I said, yeah, man. People don't get hurt in chiropractic. People don't die in chiropractic. I said, don't. And so when you get in discussions with people, don't ask them, don't give them the research in chiropractic. Go ask your malpractice coverage. Ask them. They're the people who know. So our malpractice coverage, I've got 1 million, 3 million. Our malpractice coverage is low. Why? Because people don't get hurt in chiropractic. I mean, that's just, don't believe me. Don't believe me. Believe my coverage. Conclusions. U.S. adults often use chiropractic care, generally regard DCs favorably and largely perceive that chiropractic care is safe. Where there's a higher per capita supply of DCs in the local healthcare market, utilization and positive perceptions of chiropractic care are higher. And from the Palmer study, they did a big Gallup poll back in 2016. Over half adults in the U.S., 55%, say they're likely to see a chiropractor if they had significant neck or back pain. If they had it. We are told regularly that 80% of people are going to have some kind of back pain sometime in their life. If half of those people saw chiropractors only for that, we would be so swamped. It'd be incredible. We'd be swamped. We would not have nearly enough chiropractors in the world. I wouldn't be close. I'm a Palmer grad, but I'm surprised that Gallup poll really focused on neck and back pain instead of anything else. Google this. Chiropractic care in low back pain has 13 million hits. Chiropractic care in headaches, 773,000. Chiropractic care in neck pain, 20 million hits. Now, some of these are going to be research articles. Some are going to be, for instance, your office's article on that. So not all of them are going to be like hardcore research or anything like that. Some are going to be, like I said, some are going to be maybe your blog you did. But still, it's out there. There's a lot of people doing this stuff. Chiropractic care in health, 9 million hits. Chiropractic care in digestion, 543,000. Chiropractic care in heart rate variability, which has surprised me, over 3 million hits. Chiropractic care in blood pressure, 27 million hits. Aren't you surprised by that? I was. And I've got a big article on it coming up here. Chiropractic care in the immune system, 18 million hits. And chiropractic care, blood pressure, and immune system, 3 million hits, 3.5 million hits. One of the biggest words I'm going to use with you today is the simplest word, and it's and. How can we start putting this together? How can we start putting blood pressure and immune system together? I'm going to show you what I do in my practice. And we teach this on a regular basis. Have you seen the on Netflix that series Painkiller? If you haven't seen it, you got to go see it. It will make you shiver, to say the least. In New York State, we went to our government, and it is now, I don't know if it's, I don't want to say law, but you are one of the options, a non-pharmaceutical option is chiropractic that the MD has to give a patient. Isn't that wild? In New York State, is that a non-pharmaceutical option is chiropractic. Well, you look at it, and the research shows that we are great at helping people get off of, and help them to go back onto opioids. A product. This is a quote from Painkiller. A product is only as good as the message it comes with. That was what was the Sackler family. One of the people in it said about OxyContin. About a product is only as good as the message it comes with it. I saw that and I went like, holy crap, that's chiropractic. A product is only as good as the message it comes with. Holy cow. Again, if you haven't seen that, you got to go see it. Love this guy, Buckminster Fuller. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. I'll be super straight with you, tell you, chiropractic is that next model. Chiropractic is that next model. I will go through some things with you today, and I hope I impress that upon you. We are the next model of healthcare. I'm basing much of this upon article that you see on the left side, the side effects of the chiropractic adjustment. And that came from the Asia Pacific Chiropractic Journal earlier this year. I love talking about the side effects of chiropractic. We talk about the side effects of drugs in well, maybe you're not allowed to in your state, but many patients will also come into you and talk to you about the side effects of what's going on with them. They're supposed to take it for this one thing here. And then you go through this page, this page, this page, this page, this page, this page. You got all these pages of stuff here showing what else can happen to you. All the other bad stuff that can happen to you. The word side effects, the definition of side effects is not always a detrimental effect that happens to you. Side effects is just something that else happens to you when one thing is intended. So, for instance, my question to you is, and I'm going to bring this up to you a couple times, have you ever had anybody in your practice say they came in with low back pain? Have you ever had anybody in your practice maybe tell you that they're sleeping better, that they're digesting better? Maybe they feel like they can move better. They have less muscle tension. All of those are side effects of the adjustment. I'm going to show you something cool we do with that. So could this all be happening at the same time? Could this all be happening at the same time? I'm going to go back for just 1 second. So what we do in my practice, and this will cost you nothing to do. I'm going to give you a couple of things for homework today. And one of the biggest things I want you to do is you're going to start, first of all, if you don't do re-exams, you got to do re-exams. I mean, progress reports along the way. One of the questions we ask on our progress report, our rechecks, is we ask patients, what else has gotten better? And leave a couple blank lines. Has anything else gotten better during your chiropractic care? So the classic is a woman who started a couple weeks ago. She just had her first recheck. And she came in for low back pain. She states on there, one, she's sleeping better. By the way, we see that in my practice all the time. I guarantee you see it in your practice all the time too. If you're not seeing it, it's because one, you're not asking, or two, you're not documenting it. So she says she's sleeping better. Number two, she says she thinks she can move better. Well, we'd anticipate that with the back pain. But three, she tells me she has better digestion. Now, I'm going to be super straight with you. If you're not talking about poop in your practice on a regular basis, you are missing a big, big benefit. Approximately 60% of the people who come into my practice initially don't poop well. That is a very unofficial statistic, but it's in my practice. I see it all the time. All the time. If you're not, again, that may not be the reason why they walk in your door. It will be a reason why they'll tell you, and the reason why they'll stay in your practice. So one of the things first we do, and this is one of my homeworks for you, is start documenting on your recheck. So first thing is you got to do rechecks. Most chiropractors don't do rechecks, or if they do them, they don't do them correctly. Is when you do a recheck, is you ask a very simple question written right there. Mrs. Jones, right there. Has anything else gotten better while you're under care? Or what else is better? They're going to tell you that the initial thing they came in for, low back pain, has gotten better by whatever percentage, but then they're going to start telling you the other things. I'm sleeping better. I'm going to the bathroom better. I'm moving better. I feel happier. All those things. Start documenting that. So what we do in my practice is we have a spreadsheet in which my office manager will take that and she'll say, okay, here we are, came in for Mrs. Jones, came in for low back pain. And over here, sleeping better, digesting better, happier, moving better. I start taking those and start saying, in my practice, what we often see is, now that is not, that's not false advertising, because that's what we do see in my practice. Cool stuff. Easy to do. Costs nothing to do. Could this all be happening at the same time? This is where I started to really ask some simple questions. Simple questions. The first article here is, this is the Atlas Vertebrae Realignment and Achievement of Arterial Pressure Goal in Hypertensive Patients. And that is, you can find it very simply. It's right there. This is from chiro.org. You can find it. It's simple, simple, simple. They conclude in this that the restoration of the Atlas alignment is associated with marked and sustained reduction in blood pressure, similar to the use of 2-drug combination therapy. This was all over the place. This came out in 2007. It's been 16 years. This came out in 2007, and they stated specifically in there that when you adjust it, and they did a NUCA adjustment. What was neat about this was that the second researcher on here was Marshall Dickholz, who was a chiropractor. This was done at Rush University in Chicago. This was a big study. They adjusted these people once, and they adjusted them months later, rechecked them, and they found their blood pressure was still fantastic. They adjusted their Atlas. Second article here. The researchers of this project, this is a whole different other article, to demonstrate that upper specific adjustments would have a profound effect on the physiology, serology, the blood, and immunology of HIV positive patients. A 48% increase in CD4 cells was demonstrated over the 6-month duration of the study for the adjusted group. This is a study that came out in 92, 93, right around there. That study actually came out 94. That study sent me on a wild ride in my practice. There was a couple of sentences that changed my practice profoundly. This was one of them. And I got in this because a woman came into me and told me she was HIV positive earlier that same year. And I went and called the docs doing this study. I actually called Palmer College. I said, do you guys know anything about adjusting people and them getting better? And they said, well, we've got some studies on that, but who you need to talk to is you need to talk to Life College. And you need to talk to Dr. Grostek down there, John Grostek, the great late John Grostek. And so me not knowing anything from anything, I called up Life, and they said, hello, Life College. This was Life College back then. I said, can I talk to John Grostek, please? And they said, hold, please. And then they got me to John Grostek. I said, it was like the research department. I said, may I speak to Dr. Grostek, please? They said, hold, please. Also here, Dr. Grostek. I said, hey, Dr. Grostek, this is Otto Janke calling. I didn't know nothing from nothing. And I said, I have a patient here in my office who's HIV positive and says she's gotten better. The first time her T cells, immune system markers, have gotten better. And the first time in 5 years they've actually gone up. And she says it's because of the chiropractic adjustments. He says, we got a study on that. And this was the study they used. This is the study that came out. So my question for you is this. When we adjust the Atlas, here's my question for you. We got to start putting this together. And the magic word is when we adjust somebody, does their blood pressure get better? Well, the research says it does. Does their immune system get better? The research says it does. My question to you is this. Does their immune system and their blood pressure get better at the same time? I think that's a great question. Your body, our bodies, the nervous system, take us out of this. Let's go into one of my favorite chiropractic books, which is Guyton's Textbook of Medical Physiology. I love that book. It proves chiropractic. The body would never say, okay, we're going to put all the energy into the immune system and we're not going to put any into the blood pressure. Or would say, the body would never say, okay, we're going to focus just on this and not on that. The body would have both get better. Can both of these get better at the same time? Are you talking to your practice members about that? Second of all, are you documenting this? I document it. Does this happen at the same time? Individual group data showed that at the end of treatment, the 157 children, they adjusted children, showed improvements in 8 psychometric tests. I mean, how many kids do you have in your practice right now who need care of some kind? 20 areas of cognitive function compared with their values before treatment, their ability to concentrate. I mean, my dear Lord, maintain focus and attention, and control impulsivity, and their performance at home and school improved. Comes from JMPT, 2009. While this also, in another study, the effects of a single chiropractic adjustment on divergent thinking and creative output. A statistically significant short-term enhancement of creative thinking or energy focus when involved in creative work following a chiropractic adjustment is indicated by the interviewed data. Do people get better after you adjust them? Can both of these be going on? Can both of these? In my first article I had published, it was the improvement in vagal function in a post-breast cancer patient receiving chiropractic care. We evaluated them using heart rate variability. I had to go back and do a whole bunch of research along with the late, great Dr. David Russell and review the studies on heart rate variability. If you don't do heart rate variability, I mean, if you want to prove what chiropractic does, I think one of the simplest ways is do heart rate variability. But I had to go back and start looking at how heart rate variability is published in chiropractic. Now, the first study is mine, which is from that study, but we started looking at 4 other studies by Zhang, by Amy Haas, by Danny Knowles, and John Hart. These are different chiropractic techniques, and they all improved heart rate variability, which means they improve the adaptability of the nervous system, which means they improve the autonomic nervous system. Are we telling our practice members this? Well, you know, Mrs. Jackson, when I adjust you, well, we have found in my practice, and by the way, that's not false advertising because I have found that in my practice. I can document that. You should do that also. Mrs. Jackson, what we found is that when we adjust you, you're going to be able to adapt better. Now, how do I know that? Because I recheck patients using heart rate variability. You're going to be able to adapt better. When you adapt better, you're going to be able to repair better. When you repair better, you're going to be able to rest better. When you rest better, you're going to be able to rock more. Are you interested in that? Yes, I am. Awesome. You came to the right place. Do we tell our patients these? This one on the left-hand side is, I don't know why this one isn't promoted much more. I mean, it came out, what, 2007? My dear Lord, clinical and cost utilization based on 70,000 member months over a 7-year period. It's not a short study. It's not like, just me doing it in my practice. Demonstrate decreases of 60% in hospital admissions, 59% in hospital days, 62% in outpatient surgeries and procedures, and 85% pharmaceutical costs. Why aren't we, as a profession, waving that flag? This is what the research shows. That's not a small study. Once again, came from JMPT. Ironically, the second author in there is Dr. Winterstein, who was the ex-president of what was National Health Sciences School or something. I don't know. He was very anti this study, but I don't know. And then the second one, this is the Hannon study, is A significant amount of preliminary evidence supports that people without symptoms can benefit from chiropractic care. Improved function can be objectively measured as asymptomatic individuals follow chiropractic care in a number of body systems, often by relatively non-invasive means. Heart rate variability. Do we take this information and tell our practice members about it? The vast majority of us don't. So I have a ton of those studies. And I go around the country talking about this. And I come to your state and I do these talks. And sometimes I come to, I have some docs who fly me out to come to their practices, and I do talks for their community, or I do it for, they get a couple docs together, and I'll do it for small cities and stuff like that. 4 things I'm asking you to do. 1 is look back at your re-exams and see what else has gotten better. If you don't, you need to ask that of your practice. You need to ask them what else has gotten better. And so you write down, you're going to redo your sheets, or you take, if you don't want to do that, then you take your front office and say, Mrs. Johnson, you just had your re-exam today. Can we just ask you one more thing? And you give them a sheet of paper, make sure it's in their own handwriting, date, and sign it. Mrs. Jackson, what else has gotten better while you've been here? And you ask them that question. Then you start to document it. So what I do is I have an Excel spreadsheet. So it has, let's take Mrs. Jackson. So you don't have her name, but you have, for instance, 40-year-old female. What was the initial problem they came in with? LBP, low back pain. And then as people start to tell me things have gotten better, I have boxes up top here. So moving better, sleeping better, digesting better, happier. And we start to check those. So at the end of a quarter, end of a year, end of half a year, I start to go down and I start to add these up. You'd be astounded the side effects of your adjustment. You'd be astounded what else is happening with and for your practice members that, 1, you're probably not asking them, and 2, you aren't documenting it. Simplify your communication. Show the extensive reach of the nervous system. One of the simple things I do when I'm adjusting, for instance, the mid-thoracics, the patient is laying face down, and I will trace for them on their back: esophagus, trachea, heart, lungs, diaphragm, stomach, gallbladder, pancreas, small intestine. When I adjust you in this area, I positively influence all those organ systems. I'll say it to you again. They're lying face down. I'm going to adjust the mid-back. So I trace on their back: esophagus, trachea, heart, lungs, diaphragm, stomach, pancreas, gallbladder, small intestine. When I adjust you there, we're going to positively influence all of those systems, all of those organs. Put it all together for them. They think when they initially come into your practice that you're going to be adjusting their back pain. One of the toughest things that we have with the young docs coming out now is some schools teach about a fixation in an area. Well, my question is, what about all this research? What about all that? And if the fixation cannot only apply to the motor system, because we also know nerves go to the sensory and viscera. Guidance textbook in medical physiology shows that. That's not just me saying that. I mean, it's the one chiropractic book we've all read. None of us have read the green books. I've read most of the green books. I'll be honest with you, some I don't understand. I'll say it here. Oh no. But guidance textbook of medical physiology, we've all read, and it says This is how the nerves go. Show them that. Show them that. Because later on, they're going to ask you, hey, doc, I know I didn't tell you about this, but I'm going to the bathroom better. Yeah, well, let's talk about that. So number 2 is that show the extensive reach of the nervous system. Show the extensive reach of the nervous system. Number 3 is start using easy terms. You are all connected, and where do the nerves go? I learned all this from Dr. Joe Borio. If you need chiropractic coaching, I learned this all from Dr. Joe Borio. You are all connected, because they are all connected. We know that a nerve does start up in the brain, works its way down, and goes all the way to the toes. It shows up as the sciatic, but the impulse starts in the brain. What's amazing is we take someone and we adjust the low back, and the numbness in their foot gets better. Start showing them the research and start putting the extensive use of the nervous system together. My favorite word to use now is and. Yes, the digestion gets better, and they move better, and the muscle spasms decrease, and I think I'm sleeping better, and start adding these all up. When you start doing that, your practice members start to understand it. They start to get the bigger picture of what you do. They start to get the bigger picture of how far-reaching your adjustment can be. When I adjust someone in the mid-thoracics, and the esophagus, the trachea, the heart, the lungs, the diaphragm, the stomach, the pancreas, the gallbladder, and the small intestine, let's be realistic. How much is that adjustment worth? If you went to a specialist for each one of those systems, those organs, how expensive would that be? Exactly. So I kid with my patients about that. That was a $4,700 adjustment right there. Or that was a $15,000 adjustment right there. I have fun with them doing that. I have fun with them do that. That's your homework. This is the end of my slides, but this is your homework. Look back at your re-exams, do the re-exams, and start documenting what you do. I spend about, 30 to 40 minutes a day going through some research and then documenting how we can take that and put it into play with this. You start doing this, a couple things happen. Practice members will want to stay with you longer. Do you know how we're always told that chiropractors always have new patient problems? We don't have a new patient problem. We have a communicating with patients and showing how great they can be problem. Start taking this and start showing people. When you do that, things get better in practice. Things get better in practice. If you ever want to contact me, that's me, Dr. Janke at jankechiropractic.com. Take a look at my website. I'm not selling you guys anything today. Hate to tell you. I'm not selling you guys anything today. If you want to take a look at my practice, you can see some of the unique things I do on my practice, which I have a lot more videos than majority of docs, because that's the best way to get to know me, and people will buy from you that way. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't see any questions, but again, make sure you note down that email address, Dr. Janke at jankechiropractic.com. If you have questions, I don't know about y'all, but I only think of questions about 30 minutes after a webinar is over. And I'm like, why didn't I think of that when I had the speaker right there to ask? So make sure you reach out and visit jankechiropractic.com for more information. And Dr. Janke, are you speaking anywhere in person this fall?
So I have a couple of webinars I do, but my biggest focus right now is podcasts. I do 2 podcasts. One is, so the other thing is you should be doing a podcast, is I do 2 podcasts. One is very local from my community. And so that one it's just a fun one. And I I interview local people in my community. So that my city is called Cortland, New York. We're called the Crown City. It's called Crown City Stories. But the other one's called Empire Longevity. It's the Empire Longevity podcast. You can find it on Spotify. You can find both of them on Spotify. But it's on that one, my goal is to see how great your next decades can be. An optimized nervous system is an absolutely fundamental, basic basis of that. Is that it has to be, your nervous system has to be optimized so that when you add in the exercise gets a bigger bang for it. When you add in those great foods, your body's able to use those optimized better. When you get to sleep, all these things are optimized better when you have a nervous system which is optimized. So I always start there. And you'll see it there.
Well, that's awesome. I would love a podcast.
I inhale podcasts. I love hearing what people say. And again, my whole practice is built upon, I'm a 60-year-old guy. And so my practice is really built upon how can I help you get into retirement and not be like the average American who spends most of their time going to making co-payments and doctor visits.
I love it.
And how can we help you to be as healthy as possible? But it really comes down to having a nervous system that's optimized. And for us to be optimized is we have to be able to communicate how extensive and how far-reaching your nervous system is and how great an optimized nervous system can be.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Janke, for again taking time out of your busy schedule to
Love
be
it.
here today.
Love it, love it, love it.
Everyone, just a reminder, our next webinar is September 12th with the Holly Jensen.
Wow.
I know. She's going to be talking about the 4 key business principles for increasing patient retention and collections in your office. And I mean, who doesn't want that? And she is just, well, first of all, she's just a joy. She's entertaining, and her
Absolutely.
depth of knowledge of over 20 years in this profession. So it'll be very exciting and very entertaining for sure. So we look forward to having you there. Everybody have an amazing rest of your day and a fabulous week. And we'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.